There are those who say, we already know everything we need to know. We just have to trust ourselves and look within and reacquaint ourselves with what we already know. Get back to your true self and all that. There are others who say we need to resolve our traumas, whether it was rape, physical violence, molestation, emotional violence, shall we say. Others might say we just need to learn that we were naive. Learn the way the world really works. Learn about the human condition, so to speak. There are others who say we need to learn about different types of people. Like Rick Warren saying many of the preachers he had counseled, some 22,000 of them or more, had never met anyone who wasn't a Christian, and within their Christian church only knew one small sliver of a type of Christian. Others say, well, you just need to know the secret, in other words. If the secret were to believe in yourself or trust yourself, you just need to know how to get to that point. And I've got the secret, some say. I've got the secret sauce. I've got the finger-licking good recipe, and all you got to do is pay for it. I've got the fad diet. Well, it strikes me that growing, given our world, given everything as it is, given our brains, given our tendency to forget therein, is more like building a house that has a brick enclosure. And you may be able to buy a prefab house and it'll suit some purposes. I think a prefab life might be along the lines of get the right prescription drugs going, get out of a toxic relationship or workplace, unplug, go to the hills, homestead. But I'm not so sure these are the ultimate answers by far, the optimal answers. Solutions are too limiting. They're too much like settling for cheese pizza every day for the rest of your life compared to the smorgasbord out there. It strikes me, for instance, David Goggins from the book You Can't Touch Me or something like that. And he was once in the Navy SEAL program and more. He talked, I seem to remember on one YouTube show at length, of how important it was to meet all kinds of people. And I'm not just talking if one loved 5-star Hilton hotels in America, going to Europe and going to a 5-star there, or a 5-star on Antarctica for that matter soon. No, I'm talking all walks of life. In fact, I'm talking the types of people you generally wouldn't sometimes want to meet because it would be discomforting, out of your comfort zone, out of my comfort zone. It is forced upon us sometimes by the exigencies of life. So it might be important to learn about different types of people. And secondly, different types of income levels living. I mean, in our own personal experience. Might be important to learn what it's like, what it calls up in terms of requiring inner resources to live on the margins, on nothing, on bread and water, veritably, on handouts from other people as per goodwill accorded back to us. And finally, but not least, perhaps the most important, even if we identified trauma to a T, how are we encoding it in our minds? How are we representing it? It's with our words. If we just pluck the words off the shelf and attempt to use those to encode, I think we're going to fall way short, given their free will nature and their catastrophizing nature so often, if not almost always. So we're going to have to do a lot of work reinventing our words and honing them and practicing them like a soldier practicing their skills or somebody in the kung fu shop, so to speak. The same goes for observing people in general of all walks of life. If we don't have means that are optimal to encode what we see in a manner that is most appropriate, most accurate, then we fall short there too. So, my gosh, do we have it within ourselves and just need to look within concerning a new vocabulary? I mean, like if you went to a foreign country where no one spoke English and you came from America or England Do you have it within you to speak Swahili? No, you're going to have to know their language, like at least a couple hundred words to get by. I mean, that's going to take some work. And I think regarding our own words also, we need a more appropriate word set by far. This is never discussed in therapy circles other than, just a few comments in CBT maybe, cognitive behavioral therapy, saying things like, don't think in black and white, or a few other trite phrases perhaps. So these things, especially our words that need to be recreated, invented really. I mean, like Ben Carson inventing surgeries that didn't exist before concerning brain surgeries of a certain sort. I mean, that took some time. He didn't just turn within and say, well, I'm going to turn within and see what I already know concerning a surgery. He had to invent it, and it took time, and it was meticulous. He had to craft it. So I think then, other than doing all the work and with the right amount of brain power and persisting at it, that's going to take a long time perhaps. Like building those castles in Germany, Neuschwanstein and Hohenschwangau, if you look back, hundreds, perhaps thousands of workers, or the Taj Mahal in India. You think the builder just woke up one day and said, I have it within me, and all I got to do is like say the words and it's there? No. He may have had a glimmer of a vision of that within him, but then he had to do, as one man said in the video, the push-ups. Or I'd say maybe the jumping jacks, like thousands of them. So that's my viewpoint then in this desire to solve a way of living optimal living overnight. If that's our opinion, and if we can't do the work, particularly because of chronic anger and chronic fears, or moreover chronic catastrophes, I think that's a problem. We're going to settle for the solutions at hand that numb us or distract us, what have you, or isolate us, and we're just going to call that the optimal solution. That's my skinny on this whole thing.